In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the specially merciful, may peace, mercy, and blessings of Allah the Almighty be upon all of you. I am Umair bin Abid, and you are watching Umair Linguistics. So today our lecture is syllabic consonant N or syllabic consonant N. This video is in English, and the same video you can watch in Urdu or Hindi as well. I have provided the link in the description below as well as in the cards. So as I told you in last lecture that if you don't know about syllabic consonants, so you must take my lecture of introduction to syllabic consonant. I'll give the link in the description below as well as in the cards. So you must know before this lecture that what are syllabic consonant, otherwise this lecture will be too long. So I am just going to start without any delay. So we are going to look at conditions where syllabic N is observed, means where syllabic N is frequently occurred in some environments. So the condition one. Condition one is that syllabic N is especially frequent when preceded by an alveolar plosive or fricative. So this is the first condition, that if an alveolar plosive or if a fricative occurs before N, so in this case N would possibly be a syllabic N. So these are the plosives. These are all plosives. Actually stops are also called plosives. So these are all plosives and these are all fricatives. But even in these stops and fricatives, there are a few stops, or you can say there are a few plosives which frequently make N as syllabic, and there are few fricatives which make N as syllabic N. So let's look at these. So with first condition we have to know one more thing, that the syllabic N occurs when it is preceded by a plosive or fricative, moreover in unstressed syllable. The syllabic N would never occur in a stressed syllable, and the syllabic N would never occur in the beginning of the word. Mostly it will occur at the end of the word, or you can say sometimes if the a syllable is very big, is very long, so maybe it could occur in middle as well, but not in the beginning. So these are the all plosives p, b, t, d, k, and g, and these are all fricatives f, v, s, z, s, h, sh, y, and z. So first of all, look at alveolar plosives. So there are many plosives, but alveolar plosives are only two, that is t and d. So you can see in t and d we don't have a shaw between t and n, because here N is syllabic. And what do you mean, what we mean by syllabic consonant? So as I have told you in the introduction, you must take that lecture if you want to know this in detail, that although we feel a shaw between t and n, when we say button, we feel a small, you can say a small hint, a small amount of shaw between these two phonemes t and n, but that shaw is not of complete length. Shaw has a particular length, but in this case shaw has not retained its certain length which it has normally. So that that length is you can say is catched by this N, so therefore N becomes a syllabic consonant, and you know a syllabic consonant itself makes another syllable, so therefore it is called syllabic consonant, because mostly we know a consonant cannot make a syllable on its own, but a syllabic consonant can make a syllable on its own, so therefore it's called a syllabic consonant. So button and widen, in these cases N becomes syllabic, and also becomes syllabic when comes in contracted negation. For example, hadn't, you know, in hadn't we have a contracted negation, but even due to this contraction we have d just before n, so therefore once again N will become syllabic here. Now alveolar fricatives. So alveolar fricatives are s and z. Alveolar fricatives are only two, s and the sound. So once again, you can see here the same case is here. Hasten. You know the spelling Hasten. So you know T is silent here. So it has nothing to do with phonemic transcription. So hasten, we have s before n. So due to this, n has become syllabic, and you could see this mark. Actually, this is the mark of stress. So as we have talked already, that a syllabic consonant would always occur on in unstressed syllable. So now in hasten we have two syllable. You know, hasten. The second syllable is made by this syllabic n. So this is the second syllable, which is unstressed syllable. So n has become syllabic here. In the next example, horizon, once again the same case is here, because the is preceding. And once again, in contracting negation, if we have like isn't or wasn't, so or hasn't, so in all these cases, once again n would become syllabic. Now condition 2. So condition 2 is n would become syllabic with labiodental fricative. So syllabic n is also frequent when preceded by an by an alveolar fricative. If I am using n, so I should not use s here. So but we have to keep in mind that in this condition n may also pronounce with shaw. And you know, when a shaw appears before a consonant, so it will it will take back its property which it had given to n to make it syllabic. So in this case, you know, n would not be a syllabic. But mostly labiodental fricatives make n as syllabic n. So the first example is hyphen. So in hyphen we can see that n is once again syllabic. The other example is 7. So in 7, once again n is syllabic. And as we have talked that in such cases n may occur with a shaw sound, that is hyphen could be sometimes pronounced as hyphen like this with shaw, but it looks odd. Sometimes it's look odd if we pronounce like hyphen. No, we mostly pronounce hyphen 7. We don't say 7. No, it looks odd. So mostly it always pronounced with a syllabic n. Now we have a few examples having some plosives and fricatives. We have talked already. Button, you can see here this is the alveolar plosive, and then horizon alveolar fricatives, then hasten alveolar fricative once again then widen once again. This is the what we say alveolar plosive. Then this sound y, which comes also in player fusion. This is also fall in that group of plosives and fricatives. Hyphen 7, then situation. So these are a few examples where n would be syllabic due to that group, plosives and fricative groups. So now we are going to look at environments when syllabic n is rare, or you can say impossible sometimes. So when n appears after bilabial or velar consonant, so in such situations n may be or may not be syllabic. In most cases n would not be syllabic, but sometimes n would be syllabic. So bilabial consonants, you know, these are p, b, m, and velar consonants, these are k, g, ng, and so in such cases you can say it is like free variation, that either one may pronounce n as syllabic, or either one may pronounce n as non-syllabic. In both cases this is called free variation, and in free variation meaning does not change. In some lecture we would talk about free variation in detail as well, but here I am going to tell it by example. So for example, we have happen. So happen when pronounced with shaw, so n would not be syllabic, and happen may be pronounced with a syllabic n. Similarly weapon, sorry, I should remove this shaw, because when n is syllabic, how can I add this shaw sound? So it would be weapon. Similarly open, omen, ribbon. So if I say ribbon, or I may say ribbon, so there is a difference. Then sicken or sicken. So these are the examples. So this is the free variation. Either you say weapon, or either you say weapon. So in both of the cases there is a subtle change of sound, but it has not changed the meaning. And always the phoneme change meanings. The allophonic variation or this free variation does not change meaning, only a sound difference may occur. So it is called free variation, and in such cases n could be syllabic, or most of the times it would not be syllabic. Now condition number 2, spelling sequence and phoneme sequence. We will look at separately at phoneme sequences. So first of all, spelling sequence. The spelling sequence is that after velar consonants, and velar consonants we already talk about k, g and n. If after velar consonant, when syllabic n is represented in the spelling by letter sequence an or on. So here we have example of this case. So in wagon we have a syllabic consonant, alveolar velar consonant g, and after that we have a spelling sequence on. So in such cases, once again the syllabic n would be rare. Most of the times it would be pronounced with shaw, but sometimes it may pronounce like n as syllabic, but most of the times it is pronounced with shaw. It is more common. So maybe and any word which is, for example, there may be I am just giving you example. You can find a word in the and in that word we have a k sound, and after k we have on or an sequence. So in that case, once again n would not be syllabic most of the times. So this is the spelling sequence. And now phoneme sequence. So phoneme sequence is that if there is a nasal sound, and we know m, n, these are nasal sounds, and if there is a sound nasal or s or l, and after any of these sounds we have a plosive, so in that case once again syllabic n would be very rare, like in London. So in London you can see we have a if we transcribe it, so London would be transcribed like this: learn and done. So you can see here that n and there is a nasal, and after nasal we must have a plosive. So we have a plosive d. So in such case it would n would be non-syllabic, and in rare cases n could be like n could be a syllabic as well, like this. But in most of the cases n would not be syllabic in such cases. And there may be a word, you can suppose a word which has s sound, and after s we have a plosive. So once again in that case, for example, just suppose I have a sound word wispen. So in wispen, if we transcribe this word, let me erase all this word wispen, and if I transcribe this word, so I would transcribe it like this: wis wispen. So here the condition is also meeting that we have a s, and after s we have a plosive. So in such case n would not be syllabic, but n would be non-syllabic. So this is all about today's lecture. I hope you would have understood it. I apologize that the lecture has been very long, but you know, sometimes we have to understand these conditions, and these are very helpful to understand what is happening in real situation in real language. And you know, we are talking about RP, or receive pronunciation, we can say. So that's why sometimes we don't understand native speakers, that what they are saying. So actually these subtle variations are happening in, you can say, in casual speech, which we don't know and we don't understand. So in next lecture we are going to look at two syllabic consonant m and ing. And if you have understood this lecture, so you may subscribe my channel and like this video. So don't forget to give your feedback. Remember in your prayers. Jazakallahu khairan, and thank you.